with us, because the reason why you're frustrated about being here is because you were told one thing and all of a sudden we're considering something different, and that is the reason why you're frustrated. And I understand being frustrated with the council because we've dealt with this many times, and it takes a lot of effort and to come forward on an issue that you're continually asked to advocate for. So, but I really want to take this time to also say that, you know, the group in here is the grassroots group to get your neighbors to get out and vote, because that is ultimately the only voice that we have in our government. And so I will be supporting this vote.
Any further comments? I'll just weigh in a little bit here. I asked staff to provide us with voter election results turnouts going back to 2005. And I chose 4 municipal elections. And this is what we have this particular year with council positions up. And the reason I chose 2005, it was the last time in memory that there were issues of great concern before the community, as much as anything around the new sign ordinance that had been passed. And it was a fairly vigorous campaign. That primary, there were 4 council seats up for election, which are the same 4 that are up this year. And in the primary, there were 3 candidates for every position, which showed great interest. You cannot, since then, I don't have an exact number, but I'll throw out that approximately half of the council members' positions have been, only 1 candidate has run since then. And one anticipates that there'll be a greater interest in running for city council this year. So we may see a robust primary, and perhaps a robust campaign not only for the primary but for the general election. Again, the consideration here tonight was when do we want the citizens to weigh on this particular issue. It certainly has been one that has had as much interest as anything that we've seen. Perhaps change in public safety is the only, contract for public safety is the only other issue that I've seen in the last 12 years that has generated the type of enthusiasm of the community to come out and speak to council and address these sorts of things. And going back and certainly the results show that more people return a ballot in the general election than do in the primary. And that doesn't necessarily mean more people vote in the general election than the primary, although that is generally true. Back in 2005, we found, you find that very few people who returned their ballot were considered veteran votes or didn't vote for anybody. In 2015, the last time we had a general election, there appeared to be a fair amount of apathy, where anywhere from 169 people to 341 people, depending upon the position, didn't even bother to mark for one candidate or the other. And when you consider that 2 of those races were less than 100 votes deciding, and you think how many people didn't even bother to mark their ballot, that's kind of interesting. In 2015, in the primary election, the city put forward to people a proposition to create a metropolitan tax district. There were only 14 people who didn't mark their ballot on that, which means that 1,912 people actually marked their ballot one way or the other. And they said by a margin of greater than 2 to 1, they didn't want property tax. Good for them. In the general election, 2 of the 3 council races had less, 2 of the 3 council races, more than 100 people less voted for a council person than those who did on the metropolitan taxing district. So there was less interest in who was running for city council than whether you're going to be taxed on your property or not. And the other one was less than, had 100 votes more two candidates, and that would certainly erase that drew an amount of interest between the two candidates. And the general election that we just had in 2016, it was the largest turnout of voters in the city of Snohomish returning their ballots that we have ever seen. Approximately, get the number right, almost 86% of the registered voters in the city of Snohomish returned their ballot. We had two propositions on that ballot. One of them was to change the form of government, and the other one was should we or should we not ban fireworks in the town. Well, the largest number of people who didn't mark their ballot were for the change of government. 411 people. 7.5% of the people who returned their ballot didn't even bother to mark it on what I would consider the major issue in the last 40 years for this city. And I find that disheartening that they didn't. Who knows why? We don't know why. They could have been confused, they may not have cared. Only 238 people did mark their ballot on fireworks, which means fireworks had a much greater consideration, much more interest than changing government. I find that disheartening. Not how people voted, but their participation, in government. So I'll certainly support, places on the November ballot, but I don't think that the date, my analysis doesn't show that the date makes a whole lot of difference. If people are passionate about something, they're going to mark their ballot and they're going to return that ballot. This is an opportunity for people to weigh in. Again, there isn't going to be, we're not addressing whether it will happen, won't happen, or it will be or it won't be. If it's on the November ballot, it will be certified in late November by the county auditor. So we won't officially know. At that point, there'll be 2 council meetings left. There wouldn't be time for staff to, I wouldn't think, time for staff to address an issue. So my guess is that it is most likely, should the citizens be in favor, or whatever new council wants to do, it would probably be 2018 before this issue would come back, before the city again. I think that addresses the question about potential timeline. I wouldn't rule out that citizens favor anything in elected government can happen. But hopefully, people speak, elected officials, hear what the people have to say, and then there is a robust public discussion after that point in time. Any other comments? If not, I'll question. Oh, sorry, Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say on a personal level, I always enjoy listening to someone from the public or on the dais or from the city when they bring a lot of facts to me that they can back up. I just want to compliment Mayor Hamilton for taking the time to go through these voting numbers and piece out some facts and begin to generate some opinions on it. It's a sign of a really good mind, and I just want to applaud it. That's it for me.
Okay. So, yeah, so Councilmember Shaw.
I also appreciate it because you always do come with your facts and numbers, but I just want to make the point that that is not the point. The point was the public was told a date and we needed to honor that date. It had nothing to do with whether that was the better date or the lesser date. It was the fact that the public was told, and then all of a sudden it came back as a discussion that we might possibly move it, and that is a terrible thing to do to the community after they've been through this 2 times. And that's the point. And I think that I can't even believe that we spent as much time as we have on this when that is the one and only point about this discussion tonight.
Any other comments? If not, all those in favor of placing this on the November ballot, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 6-1, and at some future date, staff will bring measure back, probably much future date, staff will bring back a measure that's on the ballot. All right, moving on to our discussion items. We have one on water supply and water rights update.
Mayor and council, if I could we, I believe a number of folks came for the recreational marijuana discussion. I need to turn on the PowerPoint projector. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you, if you would like to leave, you certainly can at this point. You're certainly welcome to stay. I got an exciting discussion on water supply. Okay. So I would ask if you are going to leave, Chief Flood can show you. I know some of you may want to talk, and I think it's raining outside. He's going to show you an area inside the building where you can talk and not disturb our building. So Chief, could you anyone who wanted to talk? Anytime I will the projector mic. For those of you staying, I will go ahead and go to the water supply. Thank you so much. So you're confused because you see the Carnegie Library up there. That's my next discussion item, but I thought I'd use the opportunity to get the PowerPoint up for the next presentation, so I don't have to do it then. All right, so thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council. Our next discussion item is just a water supply update. And as we have discussed for literally years, very seriously since we did a major study in 2009, the Council has discussed this important matter, and that's where our water supply comes from. And just some brief background, we have two sources of water supply. One is from the city of Everett that supplies about 2/3 of the city, generally everyone north of 10th Street. And then we have water supply that comes from our water treatment plant historically, which is on the upper Pilchuck, and supplies broadly everyone south of 10th Street, kind of the historic center. And as we have discussed in quite a lot of detail and had a number of workshops, it's always better to have two sources of supply. That's not the issue. It's much better for us to have two. It gives you the ability to choose which supply you want to have in case of emergency. It gives you options for the future. But as you know, going through this over the last decade, it has cost us significantly more to keep the older water treatment plant in the Pilchuck River. Again, that dam was originally from that river in 1911. The Department of Health and the EPA regulations for drinking water have become more strict significantly over the last 100 years. And it is much more costly for us to run that water treatment plant. And in addition, as shown in your staff report, when we projected out to the year 2031, which is when our study ended, it appears due to that projection that the monthly water rate would need to almost double for us to keep both of these sources of supply. And so in June of 2016, Council directed us to go ahead and close our water treatment plant supply, but Council directed us very clearly that they want to maintain and protect our water right. our Pilchuck River waterway. And again, we've had a number of discussions on that. I'm not going to go into those details. So we've been working very diligently since June to close down the water treatment plant and to close off our city water supply, but to protect our water right into the future. And so on page 19 of your packet, I'm just going to give you an update on the 3 agreements that we promised to bring back to council. The first one being a trust water right agreement. We've been working since September with outside counsel Adam Bradley with Van Ness Feldman. He's been fantastic. We have met with the Department of Ecology. We have provided them with a draft trust water agreement that would protect the city's water right. Most of those items we have discussed, and most of those are not controversial. The one area that we are working on is just the historic background on what part of our water right has been what they call perfected. And so we are working on that. We provided them with some additional background. So we'll continue to work on kind of that historical knowledge of what the city had used over the past, but that is going very well, and very pleased with our work with the Washington State Department of Ecology. The second one is an interlocal agreement with the Tualatin Tribes. As you know, they're very interested in the dam, which is one of the only structures that blocks fish passage of endangered salmon all the way from the Puget Sound, all the way to the upper reaches of the Pilchuck River. And so as part of this, we have explained to them that in order for us to get out of the water supply business, we need someone to come in and partner with us to help take out that diversion dam. And they were very excited about that. And we have been meeting with them again since September. And I have just been really impressed with the tribes. They really work with us. From a professional standpoint, they're dealing with some of the experts in the area. They have an amazing staff. They have makes our city hall kind of look like a matchbox. They have this beautiful building, very professional. And by having them be partners, when I go and I talk with ecology that we're working with the tribes, it's wonderful to see everyone smile in the room and everything's works really well. So it's just a very good partner to have with you when you're talking about these difficult endangered species acts. And that really goes back to their treaty, the LFA Treaty of 1855, and part of the key parts of what they want to work